I wanted to talk about an area of writing that has come along with the creation of the Books of Magra that has been surprisingly exhilarating and very enriching and informative form of writing that didn't quite appear right away. So, when the Books of Magra first came into my awareness, it was very much an understanding of narratives, uh, character journeys with long arcs, um, conceptual relationships across books. And that seemed to be the focus of it at first. And then as time went on and I started writing more and more, there began this way of learning about the character and their experience through their own writing. And so what this led to was an understanding that there was a couple characters who would be writing journals, and that their writing would eventually be shared to another character, or you would actually read some of their own written thoughts. And as that came into the mix of creating the stories, that in itself was very interesting to me, because at first I thought it was a great way for myself, but also the reader, to have a perspective on the character that and the story that added a kind of depth. It was like a book inside of a book. So I found that to be very intriguing. But as I started writing these journals, I started to notice something of greater value to me. Well, maybe that's a bit much. Of an equally greater value, was that it started to help me with my own writing in a way that really took me by surprise. In fact, I didn't really realize it until I had already been working on two journals of two different characters. And how writing the journals of these characters has been a kind of technical bonus is that when you write a journal, really write a journal, it's not like you say, I'm going to write an essay, or I'm going to write a novella or a novel or a screenplay or a play, because there's always this attachment with those modes of writing to someone else reading it or someone else experiencing it. But when you journal, the gift of journaling is that that issue is not in the mix. You're not thinking about if someone else is going to read it. Well, maybe perhaps some of us do, but I think that the beautiful part of the art of journaling is that potentiality of someone else engaging with it, experiencing it, is not present. And so by me having that feeling of journaling, but writing from the character's perspective, I found it to be very educational about not only the characters themselves, but the mechanics of writing, so that a character is relating an experience they had or a thought they're having, and they're not thinking about meeting some grammatical standard, or they're not thinking about someone else really understanding it. They're simply trying to purge it or to eject it out of themselves so they can bear witness to it on the page. And so what I find for myself with that process with the characters, as I said, I learn more about them. I find more depth and intimacy with them. But at the same time, I find myself cultivating my own ability to write in a way that is very surprising to me, because it has me in a place of having to write the thoughts or feelings of a character who is not thinking about someone else reading them. And yet, these things might end up in the Books of Magra for other people to read. And so they will be read potentially. So perhaps a good analogy for this is it's as though I'm standing between two mirrors and I'm seeing multiple images of myself in multiple mirrors, receding away or receding from behind. And so writing the journals is this wonderful other kind of, well, multidimensional and multifunctional way of writing, the process of writing, but also in the self-education of writing.